My life through college I call it very standard. To me, it felt very normal. Looking back, it's not necessarily the most normal, but came straight into college and very much just entered into the drinking culture, whether it was through my fraternity brothers or through rugby, and being able to, it was a lot of partying, a lot of drinking. And at some point, there was a shift that kind of happened to where I was just isolating a lot more. I was drinking by myself a lot more, and was just really struggling, but not really inviting anybody into that to know, whereas like, this is where I'm hurting and these are the walls that I'm building up. And so it's just very isolating as I just like was trying to struggle through a lot of that. And the drinking just increased drastically to where I was drinking probably every single night, and every night I'd drink, I'd black out. So I was blacking out probably 6-7 times a week. Most of it was done either in the apartment I was living in, or just kind of in different friends' houses and things like that. And so one night went out with one of the family cars and drove home and missed the street that I was supposed to drive down. Came into a T intersection and I hopped the curb and drove through a house and ended up seriously injuring a woman, and refused her breathalyzer, and then just was immediately sent to jail. And I remember coming to in jail, and the guy next to me was like, "Hey, you're on the news." And I was just completely dumbfounded to where like my life, everything in my life had led to this moment, like all the decisions and all the processes, to where it was like, how did I get here? Both like physically, like in that moment, but also like, this is just the trajectory that my life was headed. And so after I got bailed out, the Focus missionary on campus, his name is Adam Ubar, he came over to my parents' house and he sat me down on the couch. He like snuck in the front door, sat me down on the couch, and he laid out a gospel presentation. He said, he kind of drew out 3 little circles and basically said, God, you have him on the outside. He's not in the interior of life, he's just an outside source of just somebody that you go to for advice. And I recognized that he was right, but I had no idea how to make changes within that. And so really kind of that year was just the starting process of figuring out like, what does it mean to be sober? How do I actually get sober? But then also, how do I have God be somebody in the center of my life and not just somebody I turn to advice when things are tough? And so I went to a Seek conference, 2013 in Orlando, and there just like encountered recognizing that I'm a beloved son of God, that all of these things, all of the chain of events in my life that had put me into this position were important and they mattered, but they didn't define me. And the most important thing was being a son of God and being able to live out of that identity. And so from that point, things really drastically started to change to where it was the relapsing went farther and farther apart, but then also started making decisions that were based off of being able to share my faith and being able to share myself and experiences with those that were around me. What is so striking is when I look into the eyes of the men on campus, I see myself. Like I see the same struggles that they're going through, the struggles that I'm going through. And I ran the road as long as I could and ran the course down as far as you can go. And I know that what you're looking for isn't there. And it feels like we have this hole in our heart that we're just like willing to just stuff whatever it is, whether it's substances, alcohol, women, money, grades, sports. And it doesn't fill that void that we feel that we have. And only God and like true relationships and true like friendship within that is able to like call us into what we're supposed to be within that. And I came into Focus never thinking it was like, oh, I'm just gonna do this. Maybe initially I thought like, I'll just do this for 2 years and done. But the level of like formation and the level of being able to see that I received was like, this is something I need to do for the rest of my life in some way, shape, or form. Now, who knows? I don't know how long I'll stay with Focus within things, but I know that deep down there's certain core things that I've learned within like evangelizing, being able to be there for men, and what my faith means to me and how that has shaped me, that it has to be in some way, shape, or form in my life the rest of my life in some capacity. And Focus really has just given that kind of rubric and that groundwork to provide a foundation where it's like, yep, this has been incredible, and from here I can build an incredible house on top of that. The bar to be a man is set so low that you don't even have to jump. Like I can just step right over it. And I think when I was on campus and as a student and before joining Focus, I felt very much like I was a good man and I was coasting through life. But in order to be coasting, you're always kind of slightly going downhill in order to keep up that momentum. And what Focus has done is it's provided the opportunity for me to be able to strive and to challenge myself and push myself in ways that I didn't even think were possible. And being able to just now entering into my 9th year, looking back at the course of my life, it's absolutely crazy to just there are definitive moments that I can think of where it's how has this happened? I've become a great man that is worthy of love and honor and kind of respect, and it's something I wouldn't trade.